Welcome to the show Gold Squadron Gays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays talk about and review their favorite Star Wars content while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers, and World of Warcraft Midnight's music is making me insane because I swear, Bradley, that it's using cues from the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I'm bringing it up on the actual show itself. That's my intro because I just noticed it the other day. If listeners play World of Warcraft, listen to me. Go to Silver Moon City and sit there and listen to the music for a while. And I swear to God, you will hear Rey's theme in the musical cue for Silver Moon City. I am not making this up. I swear somebody needs to do it and tell me if I'm crazy.
All right, so step one, find someone who actually plays World of Warcraft.
Listen, there's a lot of people who play World of Warcraft, Bradley. It's a perfectly normal thing for people to do.
Sure it is.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I started playing this game in 2009, and I have been on again, off again playing it for 20 fucking years. However, anyway, it's very interesting. That's what I opened with because we were talking about World of Warcraft Midnight, aka Don't You Love Evil Toxic Lesbians? Because we love Evil Toxic Lesbians, the game. Oh, we were talking about it on a previous episode. Anyway, if you're watching the video version of this on Patreon, at patreon.com/goldsquadrongays, you might have noticed my background looks different.
Yes,
and that is because I am 85% moved into my new studio apartment. Yes. And I do have to let the listeners know that there's some sound considerations for this episode and for episodes moving forward. Bradley is still in Texas.
Sure.
And will remain in Texas, although he seems to have figured out a better place to record.
It's going to change probably every time. So.
It sounds not as echoey this time.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a different vibe in the room, so that's why.
I am in a new apartment, and there's two considerations. So the first is that my new apartment is very close to the airport.
Sure.
Which means planes go by. A lot. So we're going to try to not let the planes going by interrupt it. Bradley's going to have to listen back to the episode afterward. So if you hear planes in this one, I apologize. We're going to try to figure out what the balance is there. The other thing to keep in mind, so previously in my old apartment, there was like a main room and a hallway and then my bedroom. And when it was recording time, the cat would go out into the main room. I would put him out there, and then there were several doors between him and me. That is not a thing that I can do anymore. So he is here.
So he'll make random appearances.
He'll start making random appearances on episodes. He's learned how to behave himself better. He's not nearly as bad as when we first started recording 5 years ago, because he was like still a young adult cat at that point, and now he is firmly a middle-aged cat.
There you go.
He's about 9 years old now.
That's what middle age does to you.
Yep, so he's mellowed out.
Right.
But if you hear the cat, you're gonna start hearing the cat. We're gonna do the best we can to control him. Alrighty, and then finally, one thing I wanted to bring up. I was scrolling through my TikTok bookmarks, and I'd forgotten I'd bookmarked this, but I was scrolling through my bookmarks last night and found it. I found a podcast appearance from Sam Witwer talking about like the voices in the Maul Vision. Sam Witwer did confirm on a podcast that he did voice every single voice in the Visions. We talked about whether or not that was Clancy Brown recording for Savage Opress. I think it might have been Sam Witwer.
Makes sense.
I think it might have been Sam Witwer doing his best Clancy Brown.
I do find it weird, though, that we have two Clancy Brown characters in one episode, and Clancy Brown does not voice said character.
Credited. You know what? I'm going to put this to bed really quickly.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to put this to bed. Okay. I have a definitive answer for you.
Okay.
So Sam Witwer voices Darth Sidious, young Savage Opress,
that's
and
right.
Stormtrooper number 1. Clancy Brown voices Savage Opress. So the line that Savage delivers, the "we will have our revenge" or whatever the line is, that is in fact Clancy Brown doing that one line. Obi-Wan Kenobi is voiced by Ewan McGregor.
Which I think we said it was just probably reused audio.
It's archival footage of his scream from the Phantom Menace.
Cool. Okay, great.
So that definitively answers that question. That is Clancy Brown.
We're doing the
voicing
hard
adult
research.
Savage
Yeah, we're doing
Apprentice.
the hard research out
Listen,
here.
sometimes I hyperfixate on things, and I need to know the answer to them.
I'm with you. I'm with you, honestly.
So, yes, Sam Witwer is the Emperor, young Savage, and Maul, young Maul. But Clancy Brown is voicing adult Savage Apprentice. What are we talking about? What are we doing this week?
This week we're talking about Maul, Shadowlord, Season 1 finale, Chapter 10, The Dark Lord. One last test, one last chance to escape and survive. Charles, what's one thing you liked about the episode, one thing you did not?
Darth Vader. That's the thing I liked about the
Okay?
Darth Vader. Darth Vader. I don't know what it is. So I just
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? Because ever since 20 his first appearance in a Disney thing, visual media, which was I think Rogue One is what I'm gonna give it to. I know he shows up at the end of Rebels season one, but he's just
Right.
kind
I'm
of
trying to remember
there.
which came first. Yeah.
I think Rogue One was the first time he like really showed up. Every time this man shows up in a visual media thing, it's like the most metal shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, and here's my problem with this. My absolute favorite visual media Darth Vader moment, like the one that I'm like, holy shit, this is the most metal thing I've ever seen in my entire life, is a massive spoiler. And it's a massive spoiler for a video game. It is not a massive spoiler for the video game you are thinking of when I say that, because I like that one too a lot. And I really wanted to talk about it in this episode, but I won't because Bradley has not played it yet. But there is another video game appearance. If you've played a certain recent game, you know which one, that I'm like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck? Where did that come from? Every time this man shows up in a visual media thing, it's fucking awesome.
Right.
Like they do him so well. He doesn't speak in this. He doesn't speak at all. He doesn't say a single line of dialogue in all of his time appearing. He just shows up and kills shit and just vibes. I love that so much. The one thing I disliked about this episode, God, man, it's hard to come up with something. I wish that the non-force user group had been maybe a little bit stronger.
Mm.
Like they have several good moments in it,
Sure.
particularly when they're convincing Vario to be the distraction, and then when Lawson dies. Like there are good moments in there, but a lot of their stuff is just running and trying
Yeah,
to.
they're just running and
They're
hiding,
running,
and
they're
yeah,
running, they're
it's
shooting,
not.
they're running,
Yeah.
they're shooting. And I think that particularly with the Lawson sacrifice thing, I thought that could have been just a little bit stronger. I just wish it feels imbalanced because the duel is so good. The ongoing lightsaber duel is so good emotionally. Like what it tells us about Daki, what it tells us about Maul, tells us about Devin, like even what it reveals to us about the Inquisitors and Vader over the course of it, that it just feels a little heavier than the Lawson team stuff. And every
Yeah.
time they cut back to that, I was like, wait, no, go back to the lightsaber duel. I
Yeah.
want to keep watching
Why are you?
that. Why are
Yeah,
we doing
I'm
the?
watching that thing. Yeah.
I'm watching that. That's the part I want to watch.
hmm
So while it did have good moments, and we'll talk about them, I thought it could have been a little stronger. Bradley, what about you? One thing you liked and one thing you did not.
One thing I liked obviously was the lightsaber battles. I just like I kept going back, being like, oh yes, just stay on this the whole time for like let's just sit here for 30 minutes and just watch a lightsaber battle. But no, I thought they were really good. I like how, there's highs and lows to it. We go back and forth between different people fighting different people. So it was pretty balanced for the most part. The one thing I didn't like, and funny enough, is the thing that you liked. I didn't like the fact that Darth Vader doesn't speak. I know why he doesn't in the episode. Like I understand the narrative choice, like to not make him do it and makes him more menacing and threatening and whatever. I miss a little bit of the monologuing. I miss a little bit of the like him taunting the person and like, we haven't had that in a minute. I don't know. I don't really remember Kenobi too much. It's been a minute since we've watched it, but I like the conversational fighting. I like when because that's part of it. It's part of the psychological like fight. Like it's, yes, him being this powerhouse like fighter is good, and I do want to see that. Like I want to see him throw all of his weight behind his lightsaber and they're like struggling to like keep up with him kind of thing. But I also want to see him like taunt them and be like, "I'm surprised you were alive," whatever, kind of thing. like I wanna see a little bit of that, but or like I wanna see even if it's just Daki being like, who are you? Like there's something about you that's, interesting or familiar or different and like why are you different than the other guys? Like the other guys are clearly just randos. Like wow, you're not a rando though. Like there's something about you. And I mean, yeah, we'll get into it when we get to that section, but like with Maul kind of figures that out in the beginning. But like Daki or whatever, they don't really say anything or they don't feel anything different about him or think he's special in any way. They just kind of are like, damn, this guy's tough, So I would have liked more of that maybe, but Section 1. Maul attacks Vader, joined by Daki, Devin, and the Lawsons. While the Lawsons fire at Vader and then flee through the ruins, Vader pursues them and uses the Force to bring down debris. As the non-Force users escape, Maul and the Jedi stay behind to confront the Dark Lord. Maul realizes Vader is more than an Inquisitor. Despite Maul, Daki, and Devin fighting together, Vader overwhelms them, throwing Daki aside with the Force and nearly killing Maul before Devin intervenes. Maul and Devin briefly force Vader back and then retreat with Daki through the ruins while Vader clears his way forward.
Just the opening section, huh?
Yep, this is a really hard one to section off, so you're gonna have to bear with me. And if we repeat things, or like if I say something, you're like, oh, well, my notes are in the last section. Don't worry about it.
Okay, we're just gonna roll with it.
We're just
We're
gonna
gonna roll
roll with
down it.
whatever my
I was
prompts
just
are.
surprised.
Yeah.
I was just surprised because normally if I'm like when Bradley does the like
Mhm.
summaries, I kind of use that opportunity if I need to do some clicky clacking, like pull something up that I've forgotten to pull up.
Yeah.
Or double check something if I do a lot of clicking and a lot of typing during that. And I was just like, wait, it's been like 30 seconds. Is he
Mhm.
done? Is he done already? What? Anyway, Darth Vader immediately like goes for Maul's wound, which I noted. He goes to that to make it worse.
Right.
So he identifies the thing that's hampering Maul and is
Mhm.
immediately like, let me make that even worse to give myself a fighting chance. And mind you, Vader has just shown up like 30 seconds ago.
Right. Right.
So he's already like, oh, I know exactly what all of your weaknesses are.
Exactly.
He's also identified Maul as the biggest problem
Mhm.
because he recognizes Maul. He
Mhm.
knows who Darth Maul is. He's seen Darth Maul fight before. We go into the ruins, and I just want to point this out here with regard to the ruins. A couple of things about it. I have another better note about it later, but just for now, I want to note that they've mentioned the ruins previously in the show.
Mhm.
So I just want to point out from a writing standpoint, these don't come out of nowhere. Daki's been trying to get here for multiple episodes.
Because it's like a good hiding spot.
Right. And we see that it
Right.
would have worked. It's deserted.
Right, yeah, because especially if the Empire hadn't been called in, it would have been a great place to just hide
Yeah,
out for
it
the whole time.
would have worked really well.
Hmm.
So we do see what that is. Maul, after fighting Vader for about a minute, this is what you were alluding to earlier. Maul is the one that realizes, like, oh, this is not an Inquisitor.
Yeah,
I don't
something
know
about him.
what this is.
Yeah. He's like, what's a step above Inquisitor, but below Sith Lord? Like he's like,
It
yeah,
doesn't
he
even
doesn't,
occur to him
yeah,
that he's fighting a Sith. I think because he associates the Sith so much with Sidious
right,
now, and like Dooku's dead, so as far as Maul knows, Sidious is the only one, and it doesn't even occur to him that Sidious replaced him
yeah. Don't you find
or
that weird?
replaced Dooku.
Like he doesn't think of that?
I think Maul is arrogant enough to believe that, like, oh, Sidious just replaced him with Dooku because that was always the plan. Like, Dooku was never really an apprentice.
Right, right, right,
Like,
right. No,
and
Dooku was a means to an end, or like he's
also,
like a
the
thing. Yeah.
galaxy has been told that Anakin Skywalker is dead.
Mm,
So that, like, that doesn't occur to Maul that this is Anakin Skywalker, even though he knew that the plan was to corrupt Anakin Skywalker because he tries to kill him in Clone
right.
Wars. And so it never occurs to him that one, this guy is Anakin Skywalker and the Emperor's just fucking lying to everybody. But also two, that the Emperor has a new apprentice that looks like this giant robot man.
Hmm. Well, also he could also be thinking too, like I guess the Inquisitor thing, it doesn't really occur to him that the Inquisitors are like they're kind of like lower level apprentices, if you will. Like he kind of maybe considers them just like Like, oh, Sidious just has a bunch of these little guys running
Yeah, he's
around
got
that
a
are,
bunch of little guys running
yeah,
around. He's expecting another little guy, and then he gets
right.
Vader, effortlessly 3v1ing everyone
Hmm.
with absolutely no like. Vader moves so fast. Like his movements are so fast and so precise. It's insane because his lightsaber is constantly where it needs to be.
Right.
Like it's just there's no disconnect between his thought and his movement. The lightsaber needs to be a place, so it is a place. I also with Vader, I want to shout out in Rebels, Vader's appearances had to be very sparse because the cape animation was very difficult. The
Mm.
cape was very difficult to animate in Rebel. They've gotten so good at animation. Watch how his cape flows in this episode. It's beautiful.
I'm gonna take a look next time I watch it for sure.
Next time you watch it, pay
Yeah,
attention to the cape and how fluid the movements of the cape are.
we've
Like
just
it,
evolved.
they really have grown up
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much over time.
We've just gone from, our pitty little days in the Clone Wars to now we're
Yep, little Clone Wars season one, which looks practically like previs for this now at this
I know,
point
isn't
because
that
they've gotten
crazy to
so
think
good.
about? Yeah,
And people forget like the animation in Clone Wars seasons one and two were really good for the time.
the time, yeah.
Like they were really impressive 3D animation for the time. It was a really expensive show at the time. And now we look back on it as like, oh, it doesn't look good. No, it was great when you first watched it. And here's the thing about Vader, right? Because one thing that's consistent throughout all of his appearances in the Disney visual media, unless your name is Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka Tano, you don't fight Darth Vader. You run the fuck away from Darth Vader.
Right, because canonically, the only people we know who can fight him are the only ones who are still alive later on. Like.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka Tano are the only two
That's
people
it.
that
That's
can take Vader in a fight. They are the only two people who have ever
right.
kind of sort of won a fight with Vader.
Right. Now,
Everybody else has just gotten away from Vader.
obviously plot armor, but is there the only other like in-universe reason I can think of is just because they all have a somewhat of a triangle of emotional connection. So it's like that's the only reason why that they all can fight and survive each other, I guess. That's
Yeah,
the
they have this
in-universe reason, I
weird
guess.
we
Yeah.
have this weird like Mortis thing
I
because they
think
were the
that's kind of
trio
what
on
it is.
Mortis and Star
Yeah.
Wars loves its trios.
Of
So you have the
course,
trio
of
of
course, of
Ahsoka
course.
and Obi-Wan and Vader are
Hmm.
this kind of it's interesting. We'll see if that ever gets explored in future seasons of the Ahsoka show, maybe, or somewhere that they do kind of have this. Because in a lot of ways, like Anakin and Obi-Wan were almost kind of co-parenting Ahsoka at points in the
Right.
Clone Wars. Like she was very much Anakin's Padawan, but Obi-Wan also trained her significantly. And we also see this in Ahsoka as an adult, is she takes some of the
Hmm.
best parts of Anakin, but also some of the best parts of Obi-Wan.
Right.
Everybody else facing Vader,
They're screwed.
you're screwed. Run
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Run away. Nobody who has ever attempted to fight him, other than that, has survived the experience. And then, of course, we get the Duel of the Fates theme over the opening credits, and they pulled a fast one on us because when they announced the show
Yes.
and they did the episode titles list, this one was just called Finale. And that's
Yeah.
why I thought it was a limited series.
Right. That's the
It was
same
like,
thing I
oh,
thought too. Yeah.
Finale.
Yep.
No, they lied to us. It was not called Finale.
No, and I don't know why I didn't think like, oh, they're just trying to hide what the finale is called. Like that never crossed my brain. Which if you like look up, there was like a tweet somewhere where I don't know if it was the showrunner or one of the directors or something. I think they hinted at the fact that it wasn't actually going to be called finale or something like that. But I can't verify that claim. But I vaguely remember reading something like, oh, well, maybe it's not actually the finale kind of thing. Like, so I don't know, but that it
Yeah,
was really clever of them to do that because now we're so shocked and surprised when we see the actual
I
title.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, I was shocked and stunned. It was, oh God, I love having landed on this unspoiled. It
I
was
agree.
worth it to get up at 6 a.m. just to watch these two episodes unspoiled.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad somebody had the experience.
It was me this time. It's
Yeah.
usually you. It was me this time.
Section 2. Vario leads the group towards the extraction point and speaks with Dryden Voss, who is en route to Janix. As they travel, Daki identifies Vader as a Sith Lord. Maul urges Devon to embrace her anger to defeat him, while Daki warns her against giving into rage instead advocates for patience and discipline. Maul argues that they must change their tactics because Vader understands how Jedis fight. When resting in the ruins, Maul tells Devon that he was trained by Darth Sidious and claims how he claims to know how to defeat Vader. He explains that Sidious destroyed the Jedi and became the Emperor, then encourages Devon to tap into her rage and full potential. Daki sends Devon ahead to find the Lawsons while he continues traveling with Maul.
We get a shot of the ruins. A couple of things about the ruins that I teased earlier. They're not Jedi or Sith ruins. They are Janix ruins per the trivia guide. The showrunners and the designers working on the show put a lot of thought into Janix and having Janix having a history and us getting to see glimpses of that history over time. So in a previous episode, we saw the statue, the Armistice Plaza for some sort of war. We know that they were dumping toxic waste under the ground at one point. And now there's a lot of statues and they look like screaming faces. What we kind of see how like this city was designed. It's a glimpse into Janix, pre-modern Janix, which archaeology nerds can have a lot of fun with.
I guess I'm assuming that this is just like some either pre-civilization that lived on Janix before, or it was because there's multiple things, right? It could be like Janix could have just been like a populated planet by aliens and whatever, and they had a whole civilization that collapsed over time, and then it just became a ruined, forest planet, and then someone came and built Janix City separate, totally unrelated.
No, we don't
Yeah, we have
know,
no idea.
which is that's part of what's really interesting. I love when Star Wars does this.
Yes.
When Legends and Canon both do this, and Canon does it a little better, I think just because the furthest back we've ever gone is the High Republic, but they will throw things in there that are like, "Oh, this was this ancient civilization or something," because the galaxy is thousands of years of
Sure.
history that we haven't seen. So you'll get something like the aliens in the Jedi Fallen Order, the game, or you get these random ruins on the planet, or you get something that tells us, like, oh, there's a lot of weight of history here.
No, for sure.
And I really like when it does that because then we can speculate. You're like, was this built by, you know, the same people who built the city? Was this built by a different group of people who are no longer around? We don't know. That's what's really fascinating about it. We know Janix has had a really storied history, but we don't know what that history is.
Yeah, I like the idea that like, oh, there's something there that maybe like and like I think we were joking last week that like the statue or whatever was, it was the Battle of Janix City or whatever the fuck. Like I think that's also a fun thing. Like, yeah, the whole planet got annihilated because of some kind of giant war or something like that, and then the Janix City we have now is just the rebuiltification of, that
Yeah,
civilization or something. Yeah, I don't know, who
we don't
knows?
know. We have to guess.
Someone hopefully will write a book one day or do a pre-war Janix story or some kind of thing, and it's there for the taking if anybody wants it. So it's nice.
We get a nice little scene with Dryden Voss. It's a very quick scene, but I like that it's here because it does give us a little insight into his character. His character is not terrifically complicated. There's
He's
not a lot of character
very
to dig
simple.
in there.
Yeah.
He lays out his whole character for us in this one scene when he says,
Sure.
"Great risks yield great rewards. Everybody will profit when I kill the guy that's in over me in Crimson
Well,
Dawn and take over."
the problem is with this problem with any pre-established character, bringing them in an earlier thing is you have to be like, okay, they have to end up the way that they are in the previous media that you saw before. So there's no wiggle room for like, oh, they become a good guy in this show, and then in the next show they're a crime boss again. Like it doesn't make, you can't do that. So you kind of have to have him either already be at his character point at the beginning of the solo movie, or you have to have him like vague enough to where there could be some growth to that point I mean, either way, he has to end up at the end of all this Maul stuff, like wherever Maul's seasons end, let's say 3 seasons. At the end of season 3 of Maul Shadow Lord, Dryden has to be A, alive, and then B, he has to be just normal or close enough to his character in the beginning of Solo, and there's not wiggle room there. Like you just can't. It's just unless you can make it more nuanced, there's really no room for improvement. And also he's not really the kind of character that needs nuance. I mean, he's a
No,
crime lord boss.
he's a
Like,
much less interesting character
yeah,
than
yeah, yeah,
Kira.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
Kira, yes, there is arguments obviously for Kira because she can grow and change over time,
Kira
and
has a very interesting character over time,
correct. Yes, I'm fine with
especially
that. Yeah.
what they did with her in Outlaws and what
Hmm.
they did with her in the comics run, The War of the
Right.
Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign, Hidden
Exactly.
Empire, all of that. Kira is a much more interesting character. Dryden Voss here is mainly just a stepping stone for Maul,
Exactly.
which is why I think we're not going to see a whole lot of him. He's not terrifically complicated. He lays out his character pretty effectively in this scene, which
Hmm.
is why we immediately jump back to a much more interesting scene between Maul and Daki and Devon,
Yes.
in which Daki is the one that figures it out.
Right.
Daki is the one that senses and is like, "Oh," and Maul's in the background like, "Don't fucking say it. Do not fucking
Don't
say
say
it."
those words.
And Daki's like, "He's a Dark Lord of the Sith." And Maul's like, "God damn it. Okay." And he does something really interesting here. He does a couple of things. The first thing he does is completely drop the manipulation
Yeah.
of Devon immediately. The second he figures out Vader is a Sith, he's like, "Oh, we don't have time for that.
We don't have time for that anymore.
We don't have
Yeah.
time for that. Nope. Nope. No. No, no, no. You need to use your anger. We got to skip several steps ahead in this manipulation of you to fall to the dark side. We need to skip several steps ahead. You need to already be using your anger because it's the only way you don't fucking die here." Then, Daki, being God's dumbest little dinosaur, is like, "I'm going to go look ahead and leave my apprentice alone with the guy actively encouraging
Right.
her to use her negative emotions." And Maul promptly proceeds to lay out the entire Darth Sidious thing to Devon.
Trauma dump.
He's like, "My master was Darth Sidious. I am a Sith Lord. I was trained by a Sith Lord." He doesn't say he's a Sith Lord, but it's implied. He's like, "I was
Right. Right.
trained by the greatest of the Sith. He wiped out the Jedi. He's the fucking Emperor." Did you see that when he says he's Emperor, she like, that's the moment where her head snaps around.
Yeah.
And
She's
she's
like,
like, "Wait, what now?"
so the guy running the galaxy is
The
a
guy who
Sith
wiped the
Lord.
Jedi out is a
Yeah.
Sith Lord who's also the Emperor.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Bombshell.
Yeah, no, Maul just immediately, clearly it was the plan to parcel this out over time, and then Vader
Right,
showed
because
up and he was like,
it's kind of hard to believe. It's not something that's easily like she's like kind of like I mean, I think eventually she just kind of comes to accept it. But like it's kind of one of those things where it's like, huh? That's like
yeah,
saying like, yeah, it doesn't make
Maul
sense.
was also gonna tease,
Right. He was
he was
gonna
gonna
ease her into
parcel
it.
this
Yeah,
out,
for sure.
and now he's like, "No, no,
We don't
you're
have time.
just gonna have to accept this,
Yeah, we don't have
or
time.
we're all gonna fucking die." You were mentioning in your thing you just liked about conversations in lightsaber duels. And I think that's interesting paired up with what I think this episode is about, what this duel is about,
Hmm.
because a lot of people misunderstand, I feel like, lightsaber duels on the internet. And they focus on the choreography and they focus on the flipping and the cool and the sick stuff. A good lightsaber duel is not about that. A good lightsaber duel is a conversation between people. And, I've said before, I'll say again, my favorite duel is the one from Return of the Jedi,
Hmm.
where all the action happens off screen and we keep cutting to Luke and Vader talking to each other. But it's this back and forth, this push and pull between Vader and Luke. This one is a back and forth push and pull between Maul and Daki. Vader's just kind of here.
Yeah, he's
He's
just
here
kind
to
of more of an
do the
annoyance.
thing.
Yeah.
He's there to drive this.
Mhm.
This episode is, they hammer it home multiple times in the dialogue. Daki says repeatedly, "We need to work together.
Right.
If we work together and defend each other, we can beat him." And Maul's like, "That's fucking stupid. The only way to beat these guys is to beat the shit out of them first." And ultimately, Maul, we don't know whether Daki would have been right or not, because his
We'll never find
philosophy
out.
trusted Maul too much,
Right.
which is ironic given how he has not trusted Maul this entire time. He trusted Maul to have his back in this duel, and Maul, as we will see later, fucking doesn't.
Section 3. After Devon leaves, Daki and Maul debate how to defeat Vader. Daki believes cooperation and defense are the key, while Maul insists aggression is necessary. Their discussion is cut short when Vader ambushes them and the battle resumes. Devon reaches the damaged bridge, but is confronted by Merrick and the 11th brother. She fights them across the bridge until Daki and Maul arrive. Together, they battle the Inquisitors while Maul faces Vader. Elsewhere, the Lawsons, Two Boots, and Vario run into stormtroopers and an Imperial shuttle. After a firefight, they retreat into the forest. As the stormtroopers hunt them down, the shuttle joins the search by attacking targets from the air while the battle between Vader and the Inquisitors, Maul, and the Jedi continue nearby.
So Vader just busts through the fucking wall like the Kool-Aid man.
It was actually really scary.
It's
Um,
really fucking scary. There are multiple Vader jump scares in this. I will point one later on. Vader's fucking like the Inquisitors were horror movie,
mhm.
but this episode is about 23 minutes long, and it is 23 minutes long of being piss terrified that Vader's gonna show up. Every moment he's not on
Yeah,
screen,
you're like, where
he
is he?
could
Yeah.
potentially show up
Hmm.
again.
100%.
He's terrifying in this. So, in the trivia guide,
Yes.
they note that Maul and Vader did have a fight in Legends in a
Oh,
one shot Tales issue. So, for a while, they were publishing these comic anthologies called the Tales, Star Wars Tales. And there's some really good stuff in there. Some of them were canon to Legends, some of them were silly little one shots. This is where we got Old Wounds, which really informed the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul fight
okay.
in Star Wars Rebels. And then they had one called Resurrection, where Darth Maul fights Darth Vader in like a lava cave on a random planet because Darth Maul has been resurrected by the prophets of the dark side. Hey, Bradley, you remember the prophets of the dark side, right? You remember those motherfuckers from Jedi Prince?
Great.
You remember those guys?
Yeah.
Those guys brought Maul back because a
Just,
couple of them were
just for
like,
fun.
yeah, just for funsies, to be like,
Nice.
we don't like Vader, so we're gonna to bring up like the proper Sith apprentice. We're gonna resurrect him, and he's gonna fight Vader, and then he fights Vader, and then Vader beats him, and then Sidious shows up and kills those particular prophets of the dark side.
I was gonna say that's such a
It's
great, like easy
very
narrative way to just bring back anybody you want is just have prophets of the dark side
how the
anytime.
prophets of the dark
Yeah,
side
you can be
do
like,
it.
well, that person died, but we really want to use them again, so let's just have random prophets of the dark side bring them back. Like, it doesn't even have to make sense. I kind of love that, and I kind of wish that we would start doing that in canon media and just say like, you know what, that person died and we just didn't get enough with them. Let's bring them back. Or that
Hey,
would be a
they've
really
done
good
it.
way to bring back people who are like
They've done it
long gone and dead.
notably. Listen, they've notably brought one person back just because that
Well,
has happened.
I was gonna say like, why not do like a thing where this is the best of both worlds, ready? They do some dumbass. There's this planet somewhere. Ray's like trying to find these prophets of the dark side or whatever who are doing bad
I
stuff.
do think they should bring back the prophets of the
And
dark side.
then they're
They
bringing
kind of
back, are you ready for this? They're bringing
ready.
back Chimere from the dead.
Okay,
Because
I'm
he
sold.
has been long dead, obviously, at this point. So then Ray and Chimere back to back. That's what I want to see. I want to see them fighting. That'll be great.
So I actually have but I have the like editorial pitch guide for Dark Horse Comics in the 2000s. And I don't know how this resurrection story slipped through
Sure.
because one of the notes on there for like they say do not pitch this to us was don't bring dead characters back from the dead.
Yes, you said this before. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So when like the EU kicked off, right, within the first couple of years of doing it,
yeah.
after Heir to the Empire came out and that sort of started the whole thing, even though Splinter of the Mind's Eye kind of already started it. But when it really got going, when Heir to the Empire and the Thrawn trilogy was a huge success and they started cranking more stuff out, one of the first two things that they did was bring Boba Fett back in the Mandalorian armor, which was very well received by everyone. And also to bring Palpatine back in Dark Empire, which was less well received. A lot of people at editorial fucking hated that they brought Palpatine back.
I mean, it makes
And
sense.
so for a long time,
Yeah.
there were rules about like you cannot bring a character back from the dead.
Hmm.
I guess this snuck it through because it's very ambiguous. Like, is this actually Darth Maul? Is this a vision that the prophets are conjuring? Like, what's going on here? But, and also it's a one shot. He dies again immediately at the end of it. But as far as, like, from what I can tell, as far as the EU was concerned, as far as Legends was concerned, this did happen. This is not like old wounds. This did, in fact, happen. So, anyway, they have fought before. If people are interested, that's in Star Wars Tales Volume 3. All of the Tales stuff is on Marvel Unlimited. A lot of the old Star Wars comics are on Marvel Unlimited. If you want to
Sure.
read Resurrection, it is there. We cut back to Team Lawson. I love Vario being the distraction. I also love Riley giving him a little pep talk.
Right.
He's like, "Come on, buddy, you can do it." I just think that's so funny.
They had to give him something to do this episode, but
Is it a little unearned? Yes. Is it funny? Also, yes.
right.
Cut back to Vader fighting Maul, and I just have a note here. Maul's trying to do his whole like flashy lightsaber dueling thing. Vader is not having it.
Hmm.
He's just beating the shit out of Maul's defenses. He's just hammering on it. And Maul is losing. Like Maul has to duck behind Daki and basically Vader make Vader Daki's problem,
Right.
which I
Section 4. Devon is briefly distracted by an Imperial shuttle, but Daki protects her from Merrick's thrown lightsaber. Elsewhere, Two Boots devises a plan to use on an Imperial blaster cannon and use it against the shuttle and convince Fario to be a distraction. Back at the battle, Daki forces Merrick off a cliff while Devon continues fighting the 11th brother. Meanwhile, Vario distracts the Imperials while Two Boots and Lawson seize the blaster cannon. During the firefight, Riley helps take down stormtroopers, and Two Boots successfully shoots an enemy shuttle's engine, causing it to crash and explode. Taking advantage of the shuttle's destruction, Daki and Maul renew their attack on Vader. More Imperial enforcements arrive in gunships, and Two Boots shoots down one before the other destroys the cannon. Back at the fight, Vader overwhelms Daki and Maul, forcing Maul to retreat across the bridge while Daki continues fighting alone. Daki battles Vader by himself, but is ultimately killed when Vader stabs him through the chest. Witnessing her master's death, Devon attacks the 11th brother in anger, but is thrown aside and disarmed. Maul tosses her one of his lightsabers, allowing her to rejoin the fight, and together they push back the 11th brother.
this is where all my notes are
There you go. I
for this
figured.
episode.
This is the bulk of it right here, yeah.
So Marak gets yeeted off the bridge,
Yeah.
providing no answer to the question of whether he is resurrected or not. In which we
I,
were saying for years that he was
yeah.
resurrected because of the weird Night Sister
I just don't know anymore.
green that came out of him. And I was assuming we would see him die in this.
I did too.
But no, he just gets yoinked off the bridge, and we don't know whether or not that kills him because his lightsaber's intact. He can helicopter away.
Yeah, I just don't. I wish Dave would stop doing this. Like, I feel like it has to be Dave right here. There's no way this was the writers of Maul. I feel like something is happening with Merrick that they just keep doing stuff with him, but they're not explaining anything. And I'm like, why aren't they explaining anything? And it's because I feel like maybe somewhere,
Dave has a
something
plan.
there is a plan for Merrick. There is some kind of either it's a novel or it's a thing that it's going to explain everything. It's coming eventually. I just don't know what it is. I want to know so
Yeah,
bad.
there's clearly something here because they're being very coy about this could have killed him and he's resurrected in
Yeah,
Ahsoka.
but then where did the
This
body
could have
come from?
not
And
killed
like,
him,
yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
and he's not resurrected. He's just maybe kept young by the Night Sister. It's really confusing.
It's so confusing.
We don't know. It
I don't know if we'll ever
unclear.
know.
Unclear. I love Vario. I love him so much. I love his little affirmations that he's doing to himself when he's about to go to strike. Like he's doing the motivational, like
Yeah.
TED talk, like, you're not small, you're super tall, you're not small, you're super tall. He's doing his little affirmations that you know he does in the mirror every
Oh,
morning,
every day.
which is so funny because Vario clearly is self conscious about his height. Because when
Well,
we
that's why
meet
he
him
had
in
his
episode
his
one,
mech, yeah, his
yeah,
mech
his
suit.
big fucking robot suit.
Hmm.
And they tell him, like, specifically the reason you'll survive is you're tiny. This is not a lesson that he will internalize because he's not that kind of character.
I I literally see I'm calling it now. Season two, Vario, there he's gonna have an Iron Hulk moment where like he finds an even bigger mech suit of some kind and he uses that and he like destroys a bunch of shit and like fights a bunch of people or something like that. It makes him feel really good. Like I don't know when it's gonna happen. Could be season two, could be season three. I have a feeling that Vario's never gonna die. He's just gonna always survive and always make it out because that's just the
He's
kind
that
of
kind
guy
of
he is.
character.
Yeah, that's all how he
He's
is.
that
So,
kind of character. Speaking of surviving, Riley Lawson is still stunning the stormtroopers.
girl, just commit murder already. Like, what is going on? Like,
Now is the point where you start shooting them, Riley.
yeah, they're literally trying to kill you. So
They
I
are
need you
shooting at you.
to
Shoot back.
shoot back, please. Even Two Boots is killing all these Imperials.
Mm-hmm. Shoot back.
Right,
It's not like we don't have teenagers doing murder. Devon's right there.
right there.
They're stormtroopers. Morally, it's fine. You're allowed to do it. Daki, okay. So Daki's so fucking stupid. He like he tempts fate by reminding Maul that, oh yes, together we can do this. We can do it. We can do it. He's trying to do the Jedi thing, and Maul's not fucking having it. But Maul does fight with him for a little bit.
For a little section there, yeah.
And then Vader pulls some of the sickest moves I have ever seen with it. Not the first time he has stopped a lightsaber with his hand.
Mm.
Like, he has done this before, but it's so cool when he does it. And Maul is also doing it, but you can tell that, like, Maul's exerting more
A
effort to
little bit
do it,
more
and
effort to do
Vader
it, yeah.
is just so easy for him.
Yeah, I like how Maul does this too because it's like he kind of is. We'll call it showboating, but like, Vader does that and he's like, well, I can do that too because I was also an apprentice of Darth Sidious, kind of thing. Like he's like, I can do
He's
that.
also still
Yeah,
fighting Daki, by the way. He
right,
is
right, right.
holding Maul's lightsaber.
Yeah, with
Like,
one hand and then fighting Daki on the side with his like left hand or whatever, or his right hand. This is really funny.
Vader is absolutely nuts in this episode.
Oh,
It is wild some of the lightsaber moves that he pulls in
well, because
this.
he's still technically this is. I mean, since this is still year one, we're assuming, right? Or that we've kind of
You're one or
figured out
two.
one or two. So he's still in his prime, technically, like in
Yeah.
terms of being post
That
Anakin.
man's like 25 or something under
Yeah,
that mask.
he's
Like,
prime Vader right now. Yeah,
we
for
got a
sure.
ways to go before he
Starts to
like
break down a
starts
little
to slow
bit.
down.
Yeah, yeah.
No, this is Vader very early in his career. So Maul hears Devon screaming and then does not just abandon Daki because he could have done that. He could have
Yeah, he
just
just ran
fucked
away.
off
Yeah,
and abandoned Daki. No, he pushes Daki into Maul. He wants Daki to know that Maul is betraying him.
right.
And Maul's like, oh, I see my opportunity. I see my opportunity to push Devon over the edge.
And I need to double check my screenshots, but I'm pretty sure this is also the moment where they specifically have Lawson witness this. Like he's watching Daki and Vader fight, and they do the force push, and then it cuts to Lawson watching them, and
I
then
think
being like,
Lawson
hmm.
Lawson?
Yeah, Lawson is watching this fight.
Oh, I did not even catch that.
Well, because that's why, well, we'll get it into it in the next section, but that's why I think that they've set up that scene because he's not actually dead. So,
Interesting. Okay, we'll get to it when we
yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
yeah. Make sure, but make a note to rewatch, like for your rewatch, make a note to find that scene because I'm pretty sure that's this point right here is where he witnesses Maul's betrayal. So he's the only other person he
Yeah.
knows.
Maul betrays Daki in the dickest possible way by basically pushing him into Vader, and
Yeah,
Daki recovers.
sure. Yeah,
So
he's
like
fine.
it
Yeah.
literally just is Maul wanted Daki to know or to knock him off guard so that Maul could slightly get away.
More of an advantage,
So
yeah.
so yeah, Of course, Daki, Maul betrayed you. Obviously.
Hmm.
Obviously, he was going to do that. Treachery is the way of the Sith. You knew who this guy was. Come on, man. And I've been saying multiple times over the course of this series, like building up to this moment where Maul is attempting to isolate Devin, Maul is attempting to put his ideas into Devin's head. And this is a moment where he really crosses a line on it by actively letting Daki die
Right.
so that it will push Devin over the edge. Maul sucks a lot. And I'm
Right.
not saying that he and Daki together could have beaten Vader. We don't know because Maul made the split second decision to betray Daki, to go his route to get what he wanted, which was an apprentice. Then Daki continues to be the stupidest person alive, although I'm not going to fault him for this one because he had no way of knowing. Because Daki does two things in rapid succession that seal his fate. The first one is that he busts out the Obi-Wan Kenobi Sarisu stance on Vader, which is a bad idea. The second thing he does is land one good hit on Vader's shoulder, which does not slow Vader down. Vader proceeds to beat the ever-loving shit out of Daki.
Yeah.
He's just not playing around anymore.
Well, I feel like Daki also gives him like flashbacks. He's like, why is
That's exactly what
this
it
green
is.
little alien like bothering me kind of thing? He's like,
He's
fucking
getting
Yoda.
flashbacks to Yoda, and then he busts out the Obi-Wan Kenobi stance, and Vader's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, now I have to kill you.
Yeah.
Now I'm not even playing around. I am going to kill you," which he does almost immediately. Devin watches this happen, loses it,
Right.
screams, and then we get a shot of Maul like looking out of the bushes like a fucking jungle predator,
He's like,
and he smiles a little bit to
yeah.
himself, and I'm like, oh, any look, I can have sympathy for Maul as a character for all he has done, or all he has endured up to this point. He is a villain protagonist. He is a villain. He is a bad person. He is a reprehensible person. He wanted this to happen, and he's loving it. He's loving that he's getting what he wants. So, like, that even takes precedence over how scary Vader is. And then, yes, you noted Devin does have a red lightsaber now. She loses her blue lightsaber. Maul doesn't toss her the lightsaber. I love this moment. Maul doesn't toss her the lightsaber. He holds it out. He makes her take it.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful writing.
The only thing about this scene that I don't like, and this is, I can't tell if it's like, well, we kind of had to do it kind of thing. They fight the 11th brother, and then, like, kind of during the fight, he just kind of like goes, okay, I give up, and then, like, runs away. Like, they don't do anything that, like, inherently makes him go, like, oh, I'm losing this fight right now. You know what I mean? Other than, like, I have to leave so that Vader can come fight you again, kind of thing. Like, it just doesn't really. I don't know, or it doesn't really make any sense. He just kind of like runs away and like, or I get it. It's like, oh, I have to go die in a different thing, so I can't be here right now. Like, Ahsoka has to kill me later, so I have to go away. Like, I don't, I didn't love the way that 11th Brother exits. I almost wish that they had done something where they collapsed the ruins to trap him, like they kind of do with Vader in a second. We'll get in the next section, but I feel like they need to they needed to have a better reason why the 11th brother couldn't keep fighting them, like other than just he turns around and runs away. Like,
Devin's just so scary, you guys. The
yeah, I know.
11th brother had a premonition of uh getting the shit kicked out of him by a girl in her late teens with
Yeah.
lightsabers. I didn't even note it, but like there's one point in the fight where Daki like tosses Devin his lightsaber,
Hmm. And then she's,
and
yeah,
she's
fighting both of the
fighting with the
Inquisitors. Yeah.
two lightsabers. She's doing
Hmm.
the Ahsoka fight
Yeah. I saw
style.
that. Yeah, yeah. Section 5. Dryden Voss arrives with reinforcements, destroying the last Imperial gunship and extracts the survivors. As Riley becomes trapped under Imperial fire, Lawson makes his heroic last stand to buy time for his son and the others to escape aboard Voss's ship, seemingly sacrificing himself in the process. Inside the collapsing structure, Maul and Devon continue fighting. Maul brings down the temple with the Force to cover their escape, And though Devon wants to revenge immediately, Maul convinces her that she is not yet strong enough and promises to train her so that they can one day defeat their enemies. Maul and Devon evade the Imperials and board Voss's ship, which escapes into hyperspace. As Riley and Devon grieve their losses, Voss and Maul reaffirm their alliance. Finally, Devon, consumed by anger over her master's death, accepts Maul's offer of training and declares herself ready to become his apprentice.
Lawson tells Two Boots to get Riley to Riley's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm going, don't fucking do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. No,
Yeah.
she sucks.
Well, this is going to be such a great dynamic for season 2. We'll talk about it in our next episode more, but I'm just very excited to see where this goes, like with his
Oh,
story.
yeah, with Riley. I don't know what's going to happen to Riley.
I have
That's
no
what's
idea now.
really interesting about this character is they've set him up to go so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. So, like, one thing with Rebels is a lot of what Rebels was about was the like temptation of Ezra towards the dark side, the tendency of him to go to the dark side. And this is something that the character struggled with over the course of Rebels is that he had these brushes with the dark side and they had damaging consequences. And ultimately, when we're watching Rebels, we fucking know that Ezra's not going to the dark side. It's interesting to watch him struggle, but we as the viewer know that. We know that he's not going to go evil. We don't know what's going to happen to Riley and Devon.
Right.
And that's part of what makes this show so interesting and why I'm also glad that they've branched out to more nuanced storytelling, but also like new characters because genuinely we don't know what direction Riley's going to go. Like he could be a character that's got a really, interesting anti-imperial arc. I've theorized that the character is going to go imperial.
No, it could go either way. It's so great.
It could go either way. We
But
don't
yeah, I
know.
have a couple different things. We'll talk about them all in our next episode, but I want to like list all of the like possibilities for his character
There
for
you're
like
gonna
the
have a
next episode.
question for us in the
Yeah.
next episode, I'm sure, about where the show's gonna go. When Riley's being dragged away, when Two Boots has to drag him away, the animation's so fucking thought out that
Mm-hmm.
you can see Riley try to grab the tree and his fingers like scrape along it and slide off as he's trying to grab it to hold on to not be dragged away. It's such a quick shot, but it's so good. Again, we talk about the animation being so good now that movements look like actors making choices instead of just moving the characters from point
Right.
A to point B. It's like the animators understand filmmaking so well that they're able to replicate the feeling of an actor making a choice, both
Exactly.
in the facial expression, like when Daki dies, and then the body movements of characters. So good. And then Riley gets a Luke Skywalker moment of being dragged onto the ship as Lawson seemingly gets shot a whole bunch. He does get shot a whole bunch. We do see that happen. But
Okay,
many
sure.
people are in denial that he is dead.
If you want to believe that that's what happened, that's okay. I accept that you have that truth in your brain.
I
That's
think
fine.
he's dead.
I
I think he is not
disagree
alive.
fully.
You and everyone else that I know is stubbornly insistent this man is still alive.
I know he is still alive. I just know it. I know it to be true. It's a thing that's because it's not even that like I don't even honestly, I'll be honest, I don't even care about Lawson that much, like as a character. I don't really care. Because I'm more interested in the Maul storyline. I like Lawson. I'm not saying he's not a good character. I just don't really care that much about him. I still think he's alive. I still think that his story is so integral to this show because they have it just doesn't make sense for him to be this one season like thing, especially if you leave Riley and Two Boots alive at the end. History of Star Wars will tell us Two Boots should have theoretically died in this episode, just because every droid that you love will eventually die and leave you, except for C-3PO and R2-D2 because they live forever, but and BB-8 because he's cute and he sells merchandise. But anybody else outside of the core, I'll call them the core robots, the core droids,
If
dies.
they kill BD1 in the third Jedi game, me and Respawn will have words.
I'm telling you, there are well, let's see. B2 EMO, he just kind of fucked off on the planet, so he lives forever, raising Cassian's son. And then yeah, K2SO is the only one that like you and L3 are the two. Well, L3 got turned to the
K2
Millennium
and
Falcon,
L3.
so never mind. It's like You know what I mean? Like there's everybody that K2SO and is really the only one I can
Droids
think
have
of.
a habit of dying
Yeah, they just
in
die.
Star Wars shows.
But yeah,
Droids have a habit of dying when they're humanoid droids. Astromechs tend to live a really long time.
that seems to be what happens. Yeah. Or
Chopper not only
yeah,
survives, Chopper thrives.
he's a
Chopper's having
thriver.
the greatest time of his life always.
Yeah,
Chopper's having
so
a wonderful time
but
being
my
a
point is
menace.
that if Two Boots is still alive, that means there's still more to that story. Because honestly, if we were to go to season two and we don't give a shit about the Lawsons anymore, if like that storyline's dead, then it's kind of like, what's the point of Two Boots? You know what I mean? Like he's
Well,
just
so counterpoint
goes away.
to this. Counterpoint, now narratively we have to reconcile when you kill a character.
Hmm.
When you kill a character off, you have eliminated the possibility of future storylines with that character. But what you have also done is force the characters around them to now reconcile with the hole in the story
Right.
that was the character who has been killed off. So, thinking, for example, Qui Gon Jinn in the prequels. The reason Duel of the Fates is what it is, the reason it ends the way it ends, and Dave Filoni has talked about how the dark side wins in the Duel of the Fates. It wins even though Maul is defeated because it killed Qui Gon Jinn. And all of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith is Obi-Wan Obi-Wan and Anakin, and to a degree Yoda, reconciling with the fact that Qui-Gon Jinn is no longer there. They have to figure out how to adapt in his absence. He should have been the one to train Anakin. And because he is not, Obi-Wan has to take over. And we get all of Star Wars because Qui-Gon Jinn was not there
Right.
to train Anakin. And
Hmm.
he wound up with Obi-Wan instead. And I think this is something that the show's going to have to deal with if, in fact, Lawson is dead. Riley and Riley's mother, who we know her name, but I've forgotten it because she only appears in the one scene, and Two Boots now all have to reconcile with the fact that Lawson is not there. Brander Lawson is not there anymore. And that's going to affect, or at least his character's thinking that he's dead, is going to affect how these characters act moving into future seasons. If you kill a character who was a really good character and had impact on the other characters, you will feel the hole in the story. You feel Tech's absence in the third season of The Bad Batch.
Right.
It's one of the things that the third season does well, is that particularly in the first half of it, you really feel the absence of Tech on the team. And we talked about it, both in the characters emotionally and then like the practical team dynamics that we noted a couple of times in early season 3 episodes. We were like, Tech would have solved this problem, but they don't have Tech. And that has created more problems for them down the line. So I'll be interested to see. I could see it going either way. I think Lawson's dead. I think this motherfucker's dead.
Well, we
Sorry
can.
to everyone who is sending me angry messages about this, Bradley.
I
I'm not
think
going to call out every listener who's doing it, but I have gotten some messages about this.
sure.
I
Well,
think
let's
he's
make a
dead,
note.
guys. You won't convince me.
Let's make a note for to talk about it in our recap episode next week that I'll give you my points on why he is alive.
Why
And
you
I'll
think he's alive.
yeah, and I'll give you like a I'll give you a breakdown of why he needs to be. And we'll do it like that. We'll do
Okay.
like a little tease for
Okay.
next week.
We got to move on.
Yeah.
So there's a very popular fan theory. So Vader's life support is automated. His breathing is automated. At least in Legends, he could not control his breathing, and he could not control the lights on his chest. That breathing was something that was forced upon him. There's some great lines in Revenge of the Sith about how you don't even control your breathing anymore. Your lungs do not belong to you. Fucking read the Revenge of the Sith novel. It's so, I swear to God, it's one of the greatest sci-fi books I've ever read in my entire life. But so when he ambushes Devin, if you notice, he's not breathing until he pops out, and then suddenly he's breathing very quickly. Like you notice his breathing accelerates. There's also the shot in Rogue One where he walks down the hallway in the dark and the chest panel isn't glowing, and he's not, you don't hear the breathing until he's standing there. I am pretty sure Vader can turn his life support off at will. And I'm pretty sure he does it purely for the vibes because I think he turned it off to get close to Devon and then turned it back on when he
I see
attacked
that.
her with the Force.
Yeah.
That's why he's breathing so heavily, and that's why we didn't hear him coming. Because this man, now we have multiple occasions of him turning his own breathing off to get close to someone. In Rogue One, it's purely for the vibes
Right,
because
right,
you
right.
can hear him coming with his footsteps, but he's just doing it to freak the people out
No, for sure.
because he comes the fuck out of nowhere in this. They drop the ruins on him, and then Maul and Devon have a conversation. Maul repeats the line that he says in Phantom Menace. He says, "We will have our revenge," which is also the line that Savage said to him in the
Ah,
visions. So this is Maul's thing. He just wants to get revenge on everybody. And we see the Crimson Dawn ship. It is a new ship. We've seen it throughout the episode, but I will point out it's a new ship for the episode. I like that. So Dryden and Maul have a conversation in the cockpit. And Dryden basically says, I held up my end of the bargain, you hold up yours. Maul says, oh, I'll take care of it. I like that at this point in the show, we don't have to see him do it.
yeah, my theory is that we're not going to.
We're
It's
not
just going
going
to
to. I
happen
don't
off
think
screen in between seasons, and then yeah,
we know Maul. Well, the thing is that the show is written so well that we've seen him do it on Gen X. We've seen him do it with the Pikes. We don't need to see him do it
exactly.
again. We know he's capable. We know he's going to kill whoever this guy is and install Dryden. That's just going to happen in between seasons. We're going to do a time jump. I almost guarantee you we're going to do a time jump. How the fuck did Vario survive all of this?
You know what?
How is this
He
man
did.
still alive? We
He
got
did.
this little moment of him in the cockpit, and I'm like, how are you alive?
I also wonder if he's even going to be relevant next season, or if he's
Oh,
even
he
going to be a
will
part
be.
of it.
He will be. He's too good of a character to lose.
I agree, but I also think like he has his own crime syndicate, right? So doesn't he have his own stuff to do?
He had his own stuff to do on Gen X.
That's true. I wonder like how, well, no, remember he's like a smuggler thing, right? So like he's all
He
over.
can do stuff. I think we will see him again.
Okay,
I
we'll
think
see.
he's going to
Yeah,
be a character in the show. I don't think they're
sure.
going to. He's too good of a character.
Well, we do need that. I won't call it, it's a slight comic relief. It's not like a heavy, like they're not like leaning into it so much where it's like annoying, but like he's a little bit of levity in this really dark
Right.
show. Yeah.
The comic relief in the show has been really good between Vario and Spybot, Two
Right.
Boots. Like, there has
It's
not
not
been
ha ha
necessarily.
ha 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 funny, but it's like, yeah.
It's like you get a little chuckle, you get a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
moment. It breaks the tension.
yeah.
It's
Yes.
doing it really well. And also, there's no character who is the designated comic
Right.
relief character. Like, there's no character who's treated as a joke. Every one of these characters is treated very seriously, but they also have moments of being funny. My final note is the final couple of shots we get. So when Devon like is ready, I had to roll it back to watch the shots several times.
Hmm.
The final couple of shots are one of them is on Devon's eyes, like her bloodshot eyes from crying, and like they look like Maul's eyes. Like, and that's a shot that's generally been reserved for Maul, is the close-up shot of the eyes. That's been reserved for him pretty much for the show. And now it's being used on Devon, and her eyes kind of look like Maul's eyes. They're not Sith eyes yet, but they're bloodshot and they look terrible. Looks like she's been through a rough time. And then a couple shots later, we get a shot of her mouth as she speaks. We get a shot as her hand closes over the lightsaber and she accepts it. And the final shot of season one is another close up on Maul's eyes as he smiles. And you don't even need to see the smile, you can see it in his eyes. Cut to credits. What a way to end the season.
What a way to end it. Yeah. I mean, we knew where this was going. I'm not saying that like the show's not subtle. I mean, it does, pretty much set up from the very beginning like this is where we want this to end. And they did a good job. I think it's a masterclass, honestly, in how to just get from point A to point B in 10 episodes or less and just get to where you want to go.
They did such an excellent job of wrapping up the core story of the season without wrapping up every plot element of the show.
Right.
And I think that's something that's so tricky to do with finales and something that finales really struggle to do is come up with a satisfying ending to the season without completely closing off every story arc because you want to tell more of the show. And I think that them focusing on Janix was really smart. Making Brander Lawson, one of the real focus points of this season, so that his story can reach what maybe appears to be a natural conclusion in this episode was really smart. That they ended it so well that I feel satisfied until the next season, but I'm also really excited to see where it goes. This episode was directed by Nathaniel Villanueva, who we've talked about before. It was written by Matt Miknovitz and Brad Rao, who is also the supervising director on this episode. So Brad Rao worked very, very heavily on this episode. Bradley, do you have any final thoughts on the Dark Lord?
My final thoughts are yes to Vader. More of that. It was great. I actually thought this was a great ending. It just made sense. I am curious, and we'll like I keep saying this. We're gonna talk about it in our recap episode of the season, but I'm curious if this is it for Vader. I don't know if like story-wise or emotionally it makes sense to bring him back again after this because it's so impactful here. Like I feel like almost doing it again like lessens this. So I'm thinking like that was it for Vader. Like it was just like he has one momentary blip in his history with Maul again, and then like it's kind of like the Kenobi show where it's like we didn't know this thing happened, but now that we know it happened, it's like it's such a Vader has such a rich history um, of stuff we haven't necessarily seen on screen yet. So it's just nice to be like, oh yeah, that one time where he, fought Kenobi, like, randomly before 10 years later when he fights him again and kills him, for the last time. Or like when Maul confronts Kenobi and Rebels, like, stuff that we didn't know necessarily happened after you watch Phantom Menace, you know what I mean? Or things like that. Like, it's interesting to see these little blips in history from a different perspective or just a different point of view, if you will. And I like this episode. I thought they did such a good job. Vader is so menacing and just an interesting enough character. Kills enough people that make sense to kill off, and then lets enough people survive that need to continue the actual story for this particular show. So I really liked it. What about you?
I agree with you. I think Vader's use here was excellent. This is how you use Vader really effectively. I also think he's probably done after this.
Yeah.
Maul has a line in Rebels where he tells Kanan and Ahsoka, and I think Ezra, that he can't face Vader alone. He knows he's not going to do it. This episode does a pretty good job of giving context to that line,
Sure.
explaining why Maul knows. Of course, it would be interesting to see Maul have to reconcile with the existence of Vader. He doesn't know Darth Vader's name,
Mm.
and he clearly knows it by Rebels. So there's more to explore there, I think, in Maul's relationship with the concept of Darth Vader. I think Darth Vader, if he never turns up in the show again, I think that this was an excellent use of him. Overall, like I said, I thought this was a really solid, well done finale. I thought it tied up the Janek storyline really well. I thought it tied up character arcs for both the surviving characters and the characters who died in this episode. I think everything came to a really natural conclusion. It's just a really, really, really solid
Yeah,
finale. Like,
I know.
they've gotten really good at
They've
writing
gotten
those.
really good at these because, I feel like sometimes we go, oh, that I was leaving me with something, or I wanted more from it, or whatever. I feel like this was this to kind of give you everything you needed. Like, I don't really think there was anything that was totally missing from this. Like, there was no thread dangling where I was like, I mean, yeah, the Merrick thing was kind of annoying, but like, other than that, the story's not about them, so I'm not really too worried about them. But
I think there's an important distinct difference in writing between leaving a plot thread dangling in a way that makes it feel like it's forgotten about and leaving off with a plot thread in a way that sets up something in the future. So, like look at Devon's arc. Devon is clearly a character whose plot is going to continue. The plot thread of Maul having an apprentice is left dangling to an extent, but Devon has had a satisfying arc throughout this season. You can hit a milestone with a character that will then continue some sort of pivotal change in the character that will then continue into future seasons.
Mm.
And I think that is the important thing when you're looking at writing a seasonal show, or you're writing a serial, or you're writing something where you're going to have installments. A way to make sure that your audience is not left feeling like, oh, nothing happened. Netflix shows are terrible about doing this. This is why I don't like them. But like, oh, we got to the end of it, and in the last 10 minutes, something interesting happened with the character to set up the next season. And so, what was the point of the rest of it? What this show does really effectively is bringing us to the natural conclusion of that milestone of the character of Devon without making it feel like, oh, the story up to this point has just been about getting her to this point, because it's been an interesting dynamic story up to this point of getting to see how she gets here. Will she get here? And now that we know that she's going to get to this point, we can go back and watch the show, and it will be just as satisfying, but in a different way that previously we didn't know. Now we know, so we can catch all of the Maul manipulation and how Devon kind of talks herself into this, and we get to see all of that. And that's something that this show does really effectively when it comes to writing its serialized storytelling. And even Riley and Two Boots, they have their arcs throughout the season. They were not left to the final episode to have those arcs. And so now each of these characters has reached a milestone that was this finale, and now they can bring this into the next season to where we get to see the new iteration of them. We get to see the next stage in their evolution. Where do they go from here? It will not be the same character as it was at the start of this season, or even, at the start of this episode. So, alrighty, well, you're still in Texas, and I'm slowly losing my mind trying to move.
Yeah.
I need some time to recover after the move. And we got the Ninth Jedi premiering, quote unquote, this summer, dropped on us
Right.
randomly. So we're not going back to Resistance quite yet. Bradley, what are we covering? What are we doing next week? And then what are we doing after that?
So next week we'll do our season recap where we just kind of, casually talk about the show, things we liked, things we didn't like, plots that maybe we think are going somewhere, things that we want to know for season two. Because actually this is probably, I think this is the first time we've ever done a recap episode where we genuinely know 100% that there's going to be a second season after this season is over. That
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, I knew there was one, but I wasn't sure because I feel like Ahsoka
Bad
was kind
Batch.
of like in the air. We weren't really sure. Like we knew there was season two, but there wasn't. Like it was kind of like
We knew there was going to be a season two. It hadn't started filming. We didn't even know about it. But now we
yeah,
know, like, for a fact,
for a fact,
going into this,
100%.
there will be a season two of Maul.
Right. So this is going to be the first time we can genuinely speculate and be like, oh, like instead of just like making shit up, like we can like definitively be like, no, well, now that we know there's definitely a season two, we know that they're going to try to do certain plot lines. So we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. It'll be a lot of speculation, but it'll be kind of fun. So just tune in for that next week if you want more of that, if you want more Maul. If you don't, take a week off, and then after that, we're going to come back with Vision Season 3 to prepare us for the Ninth Jedi show because there is a sequel episode in Season 3 of the Ninth Jedi. There's two Ninth Jedi episodes so far, so hopefully we'll get at least to that before the actual Ninth Jedi show comes out. And then if not, it's okay.
We'll
But
do Ninth Jedi after.
we'll still
So
do
the
Ninth Jedi
current
after,
plan,
but yeah.
the current plan for this year of podcasting is Maul recap, Vision season 3. Then we're gonna go straight into the Ninth Jedi, assuming it's out, which it probably will be.
Right.
And then we'll go back to Resistance unless something else comes up, because the only thing we know is coming is Ahsoka in
Right. And
early 2027.
probably, yeah, I was gonna say, depending on how long Ninth Jedi is, that could
Probably
take
12
us to
episodes.
the end of the year. So we'll do Ninth Jedi up until
We'll
that
see.
point. And then if there's a little bit extra, maybe we'll do something. I don't know.
We're
We'll have to
going back
see.
to Resistance, guys. I
Yes, it'll
promise we're
happen.
going back to Resistance.
We'll do that leading up to Ahsoka for sure.
Well, there'll be some time between Ninth Jedi and
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
Oh, I did forget. We do have to slot in Mando and Grogu movie at some point before the end of the year.
At
But
some point, we'll
we'll
talk
see.
about the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Maybe we'll come up with a fun date for that one, but we'll see. Pluggables. Quick shout out to stuff I've been working on. If you're into reality TV, I've had a chance to work behind the scenes on shows like Married to Medicine on Bravo and The Circle on Netflix, which just got announced that it is moving to Hulu. It has been sold. So if that comes back and I work on it, I won't tell you until afterwards. But if I don't work on it, I still want to just kind of put it out there because technically I did work on a couple seasons of it. Right now, my newest show, season 2 of Temptation Island, just dropped on Netflix. So make sure you guys watch that. And then I just also found out that the current Texas show I'm working on, they would like to air it in the fall. So if it's going to be a quick turnaround for this one. So if I have a definitive date, I'll let you know. But they're moving and grooving on this show. So we'll see.
You can find me on the Star Wars TTRPG podcast for Light and Dice, a TTRPG set in the High Republic era that is currently airing. It's season 3. You can also find crime, thriller, drama books that I write. Those are called Beach House Studios. Those are available on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes and Noble, and you can request them through your library, the ebook. I am settling in to my apartment. I'm hoping to really only have a couple of more days of moving. Once I am settled into my apartment, there is a lot for the writing stuff that I have planned coming out. There's the final installment of Beach House Studios that I've been working on. There's a new series that is a horror series that I have been working on, building that up. And then some more exciting things are coming. I'm looking into print copies of Beach House Studios. I am also looking into an audiobooks for Beach House Studios, which should make it a little easier for Bradley to
to catch up.
Read them. To catch up. Yep.
I need to catch up. I'm a little behind on the release.
So,
it's like I'm gonna get spoiled at some point if I don't hurry up.
Yep. So I have once I'm settled into my apartment, I have a laundry list of things to do for the back half of the year for my writing stuff. So definitely keep an eye on my social media. Definitely keep an eye on this pluggable space. That things are going to start coming. Very, very more of them are going to come throughout this. So, alrighty, well, you have to go do your job.
Yep, I'm still technically working.
You're still technically working. I have to go try not to throw out another limb. You can learn all about that in our Patreon, patreon.com/Gold Squadron Gaze. You can learn about all the fun ways I'm injuring myself while moving. And so, Bradley, go ahead and run our socials. Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gaze. Did Charles fuck something up? Email us at goldsquadrongaze@gmail.com and let us know. You can follow us on BlueSky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gaze. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gaze, where we post full episodes of this podcast. If you like the podcast, you can also rate us and review us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Please join us next week and every week for another episode of Gold Squadron Gaze.
Funny enough, the only one person I really did connect with or even kind of remotely had an inkling of a conversation was a flight attendant. Well, he was a German flight attendant, so he was from Germany.
Oh.
Am I about to have a German like boyfriend who's a flight attendant? Like, we'll see. Stay tuned. So I was thinking about
I would pay money to see you get a boyfriend, generally. You have not had one
funny
the
enough,
entire time I've known you that I knew of.